think you're muted.
Hi, Eric. It's John.
Hey, John, great. All right, glad that worked. Okay, what do we got? How was your weekend, John?
Pretty good. I actually went to the store just to get out a little bit.
Yeah.
It was cold.
What's that?
It was
Oh,
cold.
cold.
Couldn't even do anything outside.
Yeah. It's not certainly not common that it snows in May, but why do I feel like it's becoming more common?
Are you at the town hall or are you at home?
I'm at the town hall.
Oh, good.
It just makes the meetings a lot easier as far as like not worrying about the internet access and whatnot.
Are you gonna, after the meeting, will you put up the referral, the referral list and that material?
Yeah, I can do that.
And then the check sheets, if there's any check sheets.
Yeah, I'll tell everybody else once they're in here, but I'll do kind of what I did last time where I'll go through the checklist myself. I'll kind of go through the referrals with everybody now, but I'll do the checklist myself and then send them out to you. Do you want to see them before you do the minutes or as you're doing the minutes? Yeah?
Yeah, I use the referral sheet and the checklist to do the minutes from. So yeah, if you could send them to me, that'd be great.
All right, yep. I'll send them to you later today.
Okay.
Well, right after this is the meeting for the 332 Route 96 study up in Farmington. We can start it there. That will be a nice, reviewing the accident records for that one will be interesting.
Oh, at the intersection.
It's essentially like the entirety of 96 in Farmington is like the corridor, and then 332 up to the thruway. So it's like a huge one.
Yeah, that's a big job. There are two projects, one for the Tops Plaza, and then next door, Lefroy Development owns the next property toward 332 and 96. And the owner of the Tops Plaza, they want him to do all kinds of improvements to the road, and I don't think he has any money, so that seems to be stalled. And Lefroy wants to get going right away.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Lefroy wants to develop it like an office park, and the Tops Plaza they want to develop with incentive zoning and get all kinds of breaks, but they would have to come up with all kinds of improvements to the road, and that seems to be they're not with the money right now, so it's kind of all stalled up.
Yeah. So they're not. Are they just going to go through as like an office park then, or it's just like a dead project?
Lefroy wants to get started right away. They want to do like first they proposed housing, and the town said we got enough housing. So then he proposed like an office park, and he wants to get started as fast as he can. He came to the meeting and said we're ready. We want to get started and get moving. And so the Tops Plaza, maybe that would push Tops a little bit, but so far it's just Lefroy that wants to get started, and that's the wooded. It's woods between Tops and the main intersection. It's on the same side of the street as Tops.
It seems like a good place for it.
Yeah, whatever he's planning, and so we'll see what happens now. Everything's stopped. But. The property right across the street from Tops is for sale. It used to be Create Escape, the landscape company, and he's pretty much out of business. And so that's a big piece of property for sale. And then at the corner of Mertensia Road is the Myers RV Campers, and he was going to make a building and everything, and now he's not going to do the building this year. So it's just the campers and that little office that he's got. So there's a lot that could be done. We'll see what happens.
What's going on with that? Like, it looks like it was like a vacant, not a bank, I guess, but it's like a vacant building, kind of like right across the street from Tops. I don't think it was a landscaping place. Just, I think it's been vacant for probably 10 years or so.
Oh, like a two-story building, like a brick, like a
Yeah,
concrete
it's like
building?
brick or stucco or something like that.
Yeah, that's loaded with asbestos. It used to be some kind of a
Oh,
company, and they can't sell it because whoever buys it has to deal with the asbestos. They keep looking for buyers, but Create might own it. I'm not sure, but he went out of business. He was the contractor that did the Auburn Trail and then never finished it. And so they had to get the bonding company to hire another contractor.
oh, he went out of business? That's what happened?
Yeah, he was not a very professional person. I took minutes at the meetings and he would say, we're gonna do this tomorrow and that tomorrow, and then he never did anything. And he tried to get around the specifications and everything, and the engineers just said, you gotta meet the specs, and he would tell he wouldn't pay his subcontractors, he wouldn't pay. There are all kinds of liens were put against it. And finally, the town declared that the contractor wasn't being followed, so the bonding company had to find another contractor and finish the job. There's all kinds of liens still against it. He's a young guy, but he just wasn't very professional and just told a whole bunch of stories that weren't true. I was taking the minutes. I couldn't believe things that he said, and he knew it wasn't true. But anyway.
Yeah, that's really not a great long-term strategy.
So, and he's heavily in debt. And a lot of the bond that he put up was personal, with his personal house and things. So the poor kid's going to be in a lot of trouble for now. But the property's for sale, right across the street from Tops.
I don't know where everybody is.
We got 4 for this morning.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, the planning board meeting for June 24th. That's going to be on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
I'll see if they actually have the election. Why is this?
Lance is here.
Yep, good morning.
Lance.
There, Linda's here.
Hi, Sarah Linda.
Hey, there, Linda. Oh. Hey, Chuck. believe Anthony Venezia was going to join us this morning, so if you guys don't mind, I'd like to wait just one more minute.
You guys see and hear me? It's Chuck.
Yep, we got it.
Okay.
How's everybody's weekend?
Great. Everybody take care of their mothers?
Yeah, as much as you can right now.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a tough one. That'll be remembered, that Mother's Day.
So between the snow and early May.
Yeah. You know, I started a tradition back before I even moved here. The men in the family get together and cook a meal for the women, the mothers, and everyone. So we've been doing that, oh gosh, 13, 14 years. And the last 3 years, well, this year was definitely unique. And the last 2 years, I was just saying to my wife, we couldn't even go outside. It was so cold. So, so the ladies missed out on a gourmet meal this year. So,
Bacon and eggs, huh?
well, yeah, I did that for breakfast, and last night for my wife, mother of my child, I cooked a leg of lamb.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, did it out on the grill.
Nice.
Fought the weather. Turned out very well. She was happy. That was important.
Yeah, the weather has been crap. No doubt about that.
Yeah, I think that would make this situation a little more bearable if we could at least get outside a little more.
I agree.
Get out in the garden and get outside and enjoy some air. But meantime, we'll have PRC meetings.
This is how we socialize now.
Yeah, you're my social connections anymore. This is it. You folks are my best buds.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to do one of those Zoom happy hours that everybody's doing.
Yeah.
Maybe like
I
the
thought that's what this
after
was.
Tomorrow at 6.
I gotcha.
Oh, you're serving wine, Eric? Tomorrow
We'll
at
have
6?
Dale deliver it.
Okay. So we got nothing new from Cassiano or that property over in Overlook, right? So they'll be continued tomorrow?
Yeah, the only thing
Oh, skip-
we
yeah.
got like an email, and I talked to Steve Pigeon on the phone. He said that somebody from Gerber, I can't remember who it was over there and like talking to him, but their conversation didn't go very well. Apparently, the guy, told him something that like, there's not supposed to be a swale or something to that effect, and I don't know. It became an argument, and they both got kind of mad at each other. So we haven't gotten anything new as far as a correction goes, but it sounds like they're at least starting the process of working it out.
Okay, sounds like
Morning,
the,
Anthony.
there he is.
All right, I'm here. Sorry about that.
No problem. All right, so we're going to start with your project. I guess you pick and choose. You want the Taylor one or the?
We'll do the
What I
Taylor one first. That's going to be a little bit quicker.
Okay. All right, so walk us through, I guess, Anthony.
Okay, so Mr. Taylor, he's on a petition on a point, and I think about like 10 years ago, he redid that. He tore down and rebuilt the cottage there, and he wants to add a garage, a 3-car garage, kind of parallel with that private drive that's there. What we're going to do is we're going to add on to the existing garage, and with the proposed garage, in the process of the addition, we're going to rework the driveway. So the driveway that's there now is going to be tore up and put down with a like a geogrid paver. So it's that polymer geogrid, and then it gets soil on it, and then it's stabilized, but it's grass in the end. So it'll be a permeable surface, and then a new asphalt drive that's about a little less than half the size of what was there now. That's pretty much what we're doing. There's not a whole lot there.
This area that's like green here?
Yeah, that
You know,
green area is the existing driveway that's going to be reconstituted with just grass.
Okay.
So what's your net lot coverage?
We're under everything because he's got almost an acre of land. It's on the cover sheet.
Oh, including, oh yeah, you got everything across.
He's got all that land. He's at like 8.4 building and 16 lot. So he's under.
6.2 and 16.4, okay.
That's what he is now. The provided he's adding a little bit of building coverage, and he's going to actually go down in lot coverage because the driveway's not as big.
Cool.
So the area where the garage is proposed, what is that currently? Is that currently a
It's grass.
driveway?
No, it's a little bit of driveway, and mostly it's like lawn, and there's a planting area that's right in front of the house now. It's maybe like 4 feet wide. That's going to be removed, obviously, to get that garage to match in.
Which way will the roof pitch on that addition?
I believe the roof is going to pitch toward the driveway and back toward the house. It's going to be because there's going to be like 3 garage doors in the front. Eric, did I send you the PDF of the garage info that was provided? Yeah, there we go. Keep going down. I think he kind of gave a little description of what he did. I don't know if he included.
Yeah, he's got to zoom in.
Yeah, so see, that's going to pitch, toward and back. And then right now, the way that he has everything, when they redesigned the house and they put everything to underground drainage, we're just going to tie into that existing drainage.
Okay.
Okay.
And then just the variances for this setback
Yeah,
area.
he already, back when he did the tear down rebuild, he got about he got a right side variance and a left side variance. He also got a height variance. So we're going to match what the existing peak is coming off. It won't go any higher, but I think back in 1999, actually, he got a 30-foot height variance for the house, but he's well under that. I think the house is like 26 or 27 feet high at this point. So he's under the 30 that he got a variance for.
Okay.
And if we go up and down the street, there is a couple situations where there's some detached garages that are right on that right of way that's there. You can see it to the
Nice.
south. The one to the north has a variance, and then there's a couple to the south. You can see there's a garage, two to the south that's like right on the drive, right on the road. So,
Yeah, I mean, the
it's
zoning board
definitely
has-
not out of the character of the neighborhood, and he doesn't. This is his way to get a garage without tearing up the other side. Because on the east side of Oticiana Point, he's got a drainage swale there, and there's some drainage all worked into there, and he doesn't want to mess with any of that.
Right.
Oh, okay. All right.
These porous pavers you were talking about, again, where they go on the site plan?
Oh, you see that green, Chuck, you see the green hatching? It looks like grass.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it's gonna be. And it's not really it is a paver, but Eric, if you go to the details, the bottom right-hand corner, it's what it is. It's a geogrid. So it's a polymer spaced out that you plant, fill it with soil.
Okay.
Grass grows back on that. So it'll just be, if he wants to park a car back there because he doesn't have any parking on the other side, he could still get a car to park on there. It doesn't make a mess. But it's grass in the end, and it does its job as grass. Any kind of.
So it'd be like temporary car parking or something like that.
Yeah, it's not
Once
permanent. It's just if he has overflow, because there is a good-sized swale on the east side of Oticiana. He's got nowhere to park at that, but it'll look like grass, and it'll just have a little more structure under it.
Yeah, it's like they use for fire lanes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Takes
Right.
fire trucks.
Yep.
You got to undercut that thing to put the porous material in.
Yeah, you got to go a couple inches down, but when they tear out the
Please.
top, when they tear out that that asphalt, there should be enough base right there to work with. So, depending on how they built it, I don't know how they built that asphalt driveway, but there should be a decent base, a gravel base there to work with what we're putting in.
Sherilyn, do you have any questions from like DCB perspective?
Yes, I just figured out I was on mute. How does the proposed compare to the existing in terms of the amount of impervious surface?
Or less.
You're less because of the extent of the driveway before?
Yes, that's exactly why.
Okay,
We're less lot coverage all total.
Previous asphalt was about 2,200 or 2,300. Now it's 1,000.
okay, so it was a really big driveway.
It's a very large driveway for what it is, because it was originally a side load garage, but now it's a front load, so and he doesn't need any turnarounds because Oticiana is a private drive, so he didn't think he needed any kind of turnaround.
Okay, but when you count the new garage as well as the old garage, which is becoming living space, right? Then,
It's just storage above it.
oh, okay, well.
I mean, it
anyway.
is lot coverage, but we're going up in building, but we're down in lot because the driveway was so large.
I see.
You're gaining about 700 or 800 square feet in like the house calculation, but you're still losing 1,300 in asphalt.
Yeah, because the lot's not very big, 200-300 square feet makes a pretty big difference of a couple percent.
Well, I'm glad to see the proposal to use this porous paver system. This is the first time I've seen that around here. Is that being commonly used? Is it expensive? Can you give us a little detail about it?
I mean, it's not really that commonly used because, I mean, when people want to go back to grass, like he wanted to go back to grass just because he didn't need it, but he also wanted the ability to, if he had overflow, because like I said, he can't park on the east side of Oticiana because there's a pretty good swale there and it's just regular grass. They wanted to be able to kind of pull a car off that side if he had 3 or 4 people over. It's used a lot in different situations, but we don't typically use it on the lake just because
Down to the good soils.
it doesn't work. I mean, it works well, but the purpose for it is a little different kind of use. It's like temporary parking. A lot of people don't like to do that. They would rather put in a driveway or a gravel. But in this situation, he wanted the look of grass and the ability to still use it. It works. I mean, it works really well. As you know, it works better than say a porous asphalt or porous actual paver system. It
Right.
definitely does a better job than that because you have soil.
Okay, thanks.
Lance, do you have anything?
Just a quick question. That field inlet, Anthony, that you're showing in the green area, is that new? Is that what
No,
you're
that's
proposing?
existing. So we're gonna those two the downspouts, along that 20, the existing garage, the south side of the existing garage, they tie
Yep.
into that and then go around to the lake. So those are
Okay.
that's existing. We're just gonna keep it there, and let it keep doing what it's doing.
Do you think you're just going to match the rim elevation then as best as you guys can out there?
Yeah, I think so. We might up the size of it. I'm still gonna talk to Bob about that just in case, because we need to take a little bit more. Because right now it does take the whole driveway. When it does, 'cause
Right,
it
right.
is in the middle of the driveway and it works pretty well. He doesn't have any history of anything backing up. So
Gotcha. Yeah, it's definitely going to reduce, but then you add the roof in, might be the,
I think it might
I like
even
it.
it could even it's out, but I think that grass is gonna help a lot.
Oh, I agree.
I think you'll get you don't really have any kind of sheet flow across Oticiana. Like I said, there's a swell on the east side, so it's literally just what falls on that little spot, and it's not that much.
Yeah, you're not adding drainage. You're probably removing some of it off from the side. like you said, too.
I mean, if we had to do a calc or something like that, you would definitely see that we're reducing drainage with that grass. It's gonna help.
I think so as well. No, I like it. I think it's good. Just remind me, I apologize. I can't tell looking at water connection.
We're doing a little bit more information with the water, so we'll add it on there.
Okay.
We got to get we got to find that curb stop. We couldn't find it last time we were out there, so we're going to get a little more information. And if it is in the way, we'll have to move it.
Okay.
Anthony, you want to confirm and show the pipe sizes of those pipes that you're showing on the plan?
The pipes on the drainage pipes or the gas
Yeah.
line or everything.
No, the drainage pipes.
Yeah, we can
ones we're talking-
verify that. I believe they're 4-inch pipes, but I'll get out there and verify.
That's 4-inch from the inlet to the lake?
Yeah, that's what it was existing. Yeah, I believe. I'll have to check. It might be bigger. I don't know offhand.
Sewer, are you on public sewer?
Yes, sewer's in the front. You see it's between the house and the lake. There's
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So-
wow.
Yeah, in that situation, a lot of because when you get closer to Gorham, a lot of it's between the houses and the lake, just because it was a little bit flatter area to lay it.
And there's no easement for that sewer line?
Not one that we could find. I'm sure there was, but
Wow.
it's probably just it's known that it's there. It's probably a prescriptive easement if it ever had to come to that point.
Yeah.
It happens all the
Alright.
time.
And I guess your lateral runs from the house out to that somewhere there, but it doesn't show it. The sewer lateral.
I can add it, but I didn't think it was necessary because we're not doing anything in the front. But I do have that information.
In the past, the town or the planning board has kind of looked at any application for site plan on the RLD for shoreline compliance guidelines. Is there any proposed landscaping here?
No, because we're not doing anything between the house. We're leaving everything that's staying is there, and we're really not messing with the shoreline. So we figured in this situation, I understand the shoreline guidelines, but in this situation, we're really not changing anything in the front. So it's going to be as is. We're not making it, you're not, if someone is in front looking at this building, there will be no change. They won't see anything.
Anthony, I'm not sure, you may have done as part of your application, but if you haven't, you might want to put something in a letter format that kind of just summarizes exactly what you said, if that's your stance.
I mean, yeah, we could definitely write a letter, but I mean, it's pretty obvious that you're not going to see anything from the lake. Hence the reason we're not doing any kind of shoreline guidelines, because we're not changing anything. I understand if we were doing something around the lake, adding on to the front of the house and making the front of the house larger or something along that nature. It's just in this situation, if you are driving by this on a boat or looking at it, it's not going to change the way it looks.
No, I think that, I mean, it makes sense to me. I just think because the board is obligated to ask the question and then answer it, anything that the applicant can provide that justifies.
We can write a letter to that fact so the board can see it.
Yeah, I just think it goes good with the file. That's between you and Eric.
That's fine.
Do you agree with that, Chuck? Sarah Linda?
Yeah, that's fine. Maybe in that letter, describe what's there currently as far as any type of landscaping along the lakeside, even though you're not changing the lake view. It'd be nice to know what's there. Maybe a picture too would be helpful. Looks pretty barren looking at the site plan. There's not. Looks like you got that deck area on the lakeside in front of the house.
Hang on, let me see.
Steps.
Eric, can you just pull a pictometry image up? Because I don't know what's in the front there. Well, he does have some, a row of hedge on either side of it. And he's got a couple small trees that are there, and there's that one significant tree on the north side that is basically splits down the property line. I mean, other than that, there's really no.
Yeah, one tree right there. It looks
You
like.
got one tree up, and you got another tree over here. I don't know if that's.
And
on
then the
property.
hedges on either side are there. So, but I mean, those block the north and south neighbors. Not that.
I don't think. Can you add that tree and that tree to the plan just so the board kind of knows that they're there?
Sure.
Nothing.
Okay, with the height, you'd gotten a previous variance for the existing structure,
Right.
and the garage, the new garage, will be at or less than the.
Yes. It's
All
not
right.
going to go any higher than what's there now. That's not the intent.
Okay, Eric. So it's a non-conforming condition that has been approved through a variance. Is there any in regard to expanding that non-conformity to include the new garage?
Would
Is
it
there
be a
any issue?
non-conformity because he got a variance?
Yeah, it's not a non-conforming if it's been granted a variance. It's therefore conforming. And probably, I don't know how they did the conditions when it was granted. I'll have to look at that, but generally.
Eric, I have all that paperwork. I could send it to you from the county and everything. He got it over to me. I can forward that in the email so you just have it right there.
Okay. But generally, they didn't have terribly strict conditions on it in the past. It was only in the last 4 years that they really started conditioning it on like the plans and everything like that might require a reapproval. So it's probably fine.
That's what I was getting at. If it's a change of what was shown at the time of the receiving of the variance, and the change being obviously you're making a bigger structure. If it wasn't subject or specific to a plan per se, then that's not an issue. Okay.
Yeah. As far as referrals go for this project, I have it going to I said to the county sewer, but I guess we really don't need to in this instance. Do you agree?
I guess in my opinion, Eric, I would send it to them anyway. I mean, I think we all know that there shouldn't be any comments, but what if there is a request for an easement, or what if there's a request for fixes to lateral? I don't know. I think
Okay.
anytime we have a property that has that scenario, we should just FYI, here you go.
All right. Got it going to the ECB, Highway and Water, MRB Group, County Planning Board, because it's site plan and variance, the chief of the Canandaigua Fire Department, Kevin Olvaney, and Gorham, along with the ZBA, the planning board. So all total, you know, a lot of those are gonna be electronic referrals, but we'll probably need three paper copies. Does anybody have any other suggestions for referrals?
Nope.
Seeker is type 2.
Type 2.
Eric, does this go to the zoning board? Does it need a public hearing or not?
Yes, it will need a public hearing.
So it does go to the zoning board.
Not zoning, right?
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
variance.
we'll go
Oh,
to
that's right.
There's
There is a
front
variance. That's right. Yeah. I was thinking of the height. Yeah, there's a setback.
So it goes to planning board and zoning board.
Yep. And then, like last meeting, I'm going to go through the checklist myself after this meeting. And then I'll forward it to everybody, and John especially, and he'll include it in the minutes, and we'll get it out to you tomorrow.
So you're looking at the second meeting in June?
Yep.
The zoning board, June 16th, and planning board, which will be a Wednesday, June 24th. Is that okay?
Right.
And you did
Does
stress
appear that we've got,
Wednesday. Yep. Okay.
it does seem like we have everything we need as far as materials go.
I just have to get you a surety, Eric. That's the only thing I believe.
Okay, yeah. No rush on that one, certainly.
Yeah, it's not gonna be very much. It's mostly just silt fence. So.
Okay. So that's all for that one, unless anybody has anything else.
Nope, I'm good.
Good. Thank you.
Then we'll move on to the one with Jim Bay on North Menteith.
Eric, on this one, is this for now just to the zoning board?
No. Anthony, you guys dropped off site plan.
Yeah,
That's what I was told.
we figured, by doing the whole design, so, the last zoning board meeting that we had, we kind of figured we'd go in with the full design, so the zoning board had more information than just, the house on the piece of land, kind of everything that we're doing with this project from an architectural and a civil point, so they could get more information. And then we also, we were gonna do a zoning variance for the lot line revision, but we decided to pull that variance. We're still doing a lot line revision, but we will no longer need a variance for that revision.
Yeah. And I think it's appropriate to do it both at the same time. I think it's better that way.
Yeah, I think everybody gets to see it in full capacity of what the project is, instead of just kind of bits and pieces here and there.
Okay, so,
So this is a little different. This is not a tear down rebuild. This is just a new build. It's probably one of the last, vacant lots on the lake in that area. So this is a new build. There is an existing structure on the west side of the common driveway, Menteith Drive. That building, that two-story building, is going to stay as a storage facility, just for overflow, because the house isn't going to have a great amount of storage because of the crawl space and things of that nature. So it'll more than likely, the goal will be just to make it, a little bit more presentable, match the house kind of style when it's all said and done. It's a little rough right now.
can you put dimensions on it as far as the storage, the storage?
Yeah,
building?
I'll put the width and length on it. I can do that. I'll make sure that's on the existing conditions plan so you can see.
Okay.
So the plan is a new single family house between the lake and the east side of Menteith. There will be, it doesn't show it on this plan. We're still working with Bill Grove and the health department for the septic, but the septic's gonna go between West Lake and that two-story frame building on the west side of Menteith Drive. So in the kind of in that, it's gonna go a little bit west of where you are, like in that just north, like in that general vicinity of the area. That's the plan as of right now. I know Bill Grove has gone out there with the current owners before, and he's coming up with a septic system that'll work in that area. It will have to go to the health department for approvals because of the slope. So he's working on that now.
On revised plans, can you show like at least an approximate area of
Yes,
where it will be?
Yep, absolutely. So what we're doing is it's a single family build. We're going to be raising some of the grade around the house to get that house kind of, up to a point where we're compliant with the base flood elevation raise that we need for the first floor elevation. We're going to use some drainage around the house, some crushed stone, infiltration trenches, a couple an overflow drain in case those get overwhelmed. Other than that, that's pretty much what we're going to do is we're going to use some grading to get this around. We're using a temporary sediment trap at the lake for any kind of overflow that gets to the lake that we can stop that before it contaminates the lake. Do you have any questions about this one?
How close are you on lot coverage? I know you got room there on the west of the west side.
I think we're requesting a variance for,
Building, I see.
yeah.
Wait, why, if the required is 25% and it says you're at
Yeah, I
24%.
don't, that's an error.
Okay.
So we won't, if we don't, that's, I don't know why that's there. That might have been something that we were messing around with and we changed it. And we just didn't
Okay.
erase that variance. We'll make sure that that's all.
You made sure you got under 25%.
Yes.
Anything you can do to reduce the building coverage to get it closer to 15? I guess
I mean,
Jim's designed a house, I guess, right?
Jim
What do
has
you want?
gone through this, multiple times with the owner. And this is about as small as the owner, wants to go with the house. I mean, it fits the site. I mean, it's not gonna be look grossly out of place. I know Jim probably gave some 3-dimensionals, some elevation views. If you want to take a look at those.
What's that building used for on the other side of the driveway? That
It's
two-story?
just an old storage building at this point. I think it might have been a bunkhouse at one time. I don't know. I mean, there's no house there. I think it's just overflow storage for the Summer Hazes little cottage there now.
Does that count toward the building coverage?
It does.
Can you elaborate on the lot line shift?
So what we're doing on the south side is we're going to shift the lot line about 5. The existing lot line, we're going to shift it to the south about 5 feet. Originally it was 10. We went down to 5 to try to get the owner a little bit more width on the driveway, give him a little bit more width at the lake. But the areas are going to stay exactly the same. Actually, the south side ends up getting like 50 square feet more of size. So we're not making the south lot any more non-conforming.
I think it would be helpful to show the full extent of the lot to the south in addition, just because at least the ECB and probably the other boards already looked at this, and the gist of the discussion was mainly about the effect of this on the adjacent lot.
What I'll do is I'll include the new lot line revision map that would show everything.
Okay. Oh, I see. You're adding this triangular piece of slope going up to Westlake Road to the south lot, and that's how
we're offsetting the square
that's how
footage.
you're offsetting the other one. But you are making the south lot narrower in the section which is likely to be developed whatever point the existing house comes down and a new one goes up. Right?
It's about 5 feet. I mean, we're still within the regulations for side setbacks on that cottage. So
So the house has to come to the planning board at some point, right?
everything, with the north house.
Yeah, the proposed house.
Yeah. I mean, we're planning on coming to the planning board after the variance meeting if we get the variances that we,
Okay.
yeah. So it'll be that same kind of zoning board the third week of June and then following planning board.
So you're not submitting them concurrently, you're submitting them in sequence. So
They're
ZBA.
submitted. They're currently submitted right now for zoning and planning.
Oh, they are? Oh,
Yes.
okay.
If they were to take down the existing two-story building, would that get them into the 15% lot coverage zone?
It might get them close, but at this point, the owner would like to keep that building there for any kind of indoor storage he's gonna need.
What about like the porch area there? The porch thing?
Everything that's there now is gonna stay, I believe. I don't know if he's gonna remove the porch, but
Not
as
that the
far
porch would
as
get-
of right now, that it's gonna stay existing. I can find out from Jim if that's gonna, what kind of altering that's gonna do. But even if you remove the porch, it wouldn't be significant enough to get us, down. Might be a couple points of a percentage.
If they remove the storage shed, they would still need a building coverage variance, less, but still need it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's only like, what's 260 square feet.
So you're removing the shed, I'm assuming, so it's 50, it says 53 here, that you still have it listed on the proposed, but 0?
Yeah. It's going away.
Okay.
I'll remove it from that. That's fine. We're just kind of showing that the shed is now 0 and it's going to be removed.
What about proposed landscaping then?
Right now the landscaping is going to be more just stuff in the front. I'm working with the owner with a landscape with Dan Hackett to try to come up with a plan. So, but there will be one.
Do you think they will have that plan and a statement well in advance, like by next
Yeah, I'll
week?
probably have it. I'm hoping to have it all done by the end of this week, beginning of next week. So you'll definitely have something for everybody to see. So they can kind of see everything. There are a couple big trees that we're going to keep, but we are removing 3 or 4.
So as far as steep slopes go, I don't think there's any issue with it as far as your allowance because you're putting a septic system there.
Right.
Just let us know, I guess, how much disturbance there is within a steep slope area.
Yeah. Once we have, like I said, it's a little bit more of a process getting a system there because it is steep slopes. So Bill's working with the health department now to try to get those proper approvals. But I'll put the general location of it on there for you guys.
Eric, could you pull up a satellite photo that shows the rest of the houses in the immediate vicinity?
Oops, that was the wrong application, all right. Where's it?
Nope.
All right, does this work for you?
Yeah, could you zoom out a little bit so we can see a few houses to the south? Okay, thanks.
Did you have any questions or anything, Sir Linda?
No, I was just trying to get a sense of how it compares with the rest of the neighborhood in terms of the scale of the house.
Okay.
I think this one, there are only a couple that have attached garages, so that's going to be the major change, or one major change anyway. And it's kind of dwarfs the existing house to the south.
I mean,
And the next one over is in between the two, but on a kind of a similar scale.
the house to the south, anything over 1,500 square feet would dwarf that. It's a very small cottage. It's probably the last original cottage there. I mean, it's a very small building.
Right.
On the south of that cottage, and also the property to the north is rather large. So it won't be some large building dwarfing the north and the south adjacent property.
Yeah, I think the concern that the ECB had first time around is going to continue, and that is that by reducing the size of the property to the south, you're making it likely that at whatever time that house comes down, and as you point out, that house is now the smallest and one of the oldest in the area. So at some point, probably in the not too distant future, that will come down and somebody will come along and want to do the same thing and require a substantial variance. So making the width of that lot smaller, even though you are balancing the overall area, still seems like it may be a mistake.
Okay. We can note, Eric, there are two large trees on the south and on the north that we're going to be keeping on the lake shore.
Okay.
Which are going to, significantly shade this house from the lake when they're in full bloom. And we'll get some in bloom. We'll get some good pictures and include that kind of stuff in the shoreline guidelines and things of that nature. I have a really good picture from August of 2019 that kind of shows those couple big trees in full bloom.
Okay. Yep. What else do you guys have on this one?
Just for the minutes, John, I guess you ought to reflect that this is both a site plan and a ZBA. Because on your agenda for today, it just had ZBA.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really originally was just that. So.
That was the original intent to go to zoning, but I told Jim that, if we have the full set of plans, we might as well submit for site plan as well, just to keep this thing moving. So if we end up getting the variances, it doesn't put us, a month behind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but still at the earliest, I guess, would be the second meeting in June for planning board.
Yes.
So
That's the goal, at least at this point.
okay.
Lance, do you have any questions on this one?
Yeah, I think, well, at least from what I can tell on the picture, it seems that they are attempting to meet the drainage criteria, which I was just going to identify for John. John, as you know, we've been identified in the PRC's compliance with our site design criteria. So it appears, I think we should note on every application whether they're attempting to meet it or they're not meeting it. In this case, they're attempting to do so with the proposed dry wells that they have shown. No, I think, at least as a whole, I think it looks pretty complete in terms of what's on the plans versus what we would be asking for. I see there's a sediment trap in the back. I'm anxious to see where the discharge. I mean, Anthony, is there any discharge points from those dry wells when we just filling them up and then?
The two are on the east side. The ones at the ends, they're your typical. What we like to do is that overflow, so we don't have a direct discharge. If it does overwhelm the system, it bubbles out and it goes gently to the lake instead of just a direct discharge.
That's fine. I guess I just want to make sure they don't back up, and cause problems further up the pipe. But I think you have enough pitch. That shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, no, we should. I mean, the overflow dry well's rim is about 2 feet, almost, I think, 1.5 feet or 2 feet lower. So if we,
Yep.
if the AD1 in the southwest corner of the building backs up, it won't back up. The hydraulic pressure will force it out of that rim.
Go
and,
out. Yeah.
go to the lake.
No, that's fair. No, I mean, from what I can tell, Eric and Anthony, I don't have anything additional at this time.
Okay. A couple things that I sent in an email to Anthony and Jim, I think last week. We do need a lot line adjustment application for this, because there's a lot line adjustment. We need a setback for the patio from the mean high water mark.
Okay.
That email also mentioned this building, but you already went through that and we already talked about it today. We do need a project notification sign picked up for it. You guys
A
probably
what?
have plenty of around it.
Oh,
project
there's one there.
There is, okay.
I put one in. I had an extra. Actually, I had like 2 extra ones. But
Yeah, you guys tend to have some lying around.
sometimes we get a lot of them. Sometimes I go and grab them too, so I have them just in case. I put them on my friend's property sometimes just to get them mad at me.
We talked about the steep slopes, and then as far as referrals go, there's probably a lot of them. Tyler Oley, the watershed inspector, but you also said you're working with the Department of Health.
Yeah, because of the steep slopes there, it's going to have to go to Department of Health, so they'll both be involved. And I know Tyler is aware of what's going on there because when the sellers were going through it, one of the real estate agents kind of said you need to get a civil guy out here to make sure that we can put a septic there, and they got Bill Grove involved before this whole thing kind of started, just to make sure that there was a spot up there that he deemed a viable location for a septic, and it seems like we're going to be able to put something there. So
Good. I don't need that. Sorry. Chris Jensen, as this will take place in the flood zone, correct? Sewer Plain. The ECB,
Yep.
Jim Fletcher, MRB Group, County Planning, the Cheshire Fire Department, Kevin O'Vaney, one to the Department of Health as well, the ZBA Planning Board, and then 1 copy for the Development Office. Total, that'd be 3 hard copies. The rest will be electronic referrals.
okay,
And then same as the last one, I'll go through the site checklist and send that out to everybody later today.
that works. And then we did just Chris Jensen is aware of this. Me, Jim, Aaron, and Chris had a conversation about that. We also talked to FEMA regarding it, and this is a plan that everybody's kind of on board with. And Chris will have to, being the floodplain manager, he'll have to sign off on it in the end.
Okay.
Eric, do you have a CPN number on this?
Yeah, 20-030.
Okay, thanks.
It does seem like we've got pretty much everything as far as application materials go. So if anything else comes up when I'm looking at it, I will let everybody know.
Is that everything?
I think so, unless anybody else has anything.
I have one question, Eric, on another project, Lupton. Do you know how many copies you needed that?
We'll need 4 signed copies.
4 sets?
Okay. But I do want to talk to you about that.
You want to just call my cell phone after this?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll be around, so just give me a call.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. See you, Anthony.
Yeah.
Bye, Anthony.
See you guys.
Just so you guys are aware too, Anthony mentioned it there as far as the Lupton application. They've changed it a little bit, and I want to go over it with them and then also with you guys. They're now trying to reduce some of the construction costs, and so part of that led to like lowering the house, getting rid of like that walkout area on the northern part. It also ended up, what they're proposing now seems to have less landscaping and changes the design of the house. I need to go over it with everybody just to see if everybody's okay or whether it needs to be reapproved. So, but I will send that out to everybody soon.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
Real quick, Eric. So do they still want to do the advanced site preparation they had
I believe so.
requested?
I think they want to take it down,
Okay.
which they haven't yet. They've taken out like windows and stuff like that, but they haven't actually started doing any site work. I think they want to do that.
Okay, so that's still under consideration for tomorrow night.
Yeah. I'll
Okay.
see if I have.
Well, Eric, let me just propose, this is just thinking, if we gave them an approval of a plan that they no longer want to move forward with because of costs, if there's a chance that the amended plan has to come back to the board, then they no longer have an approval, right? I mean, they have approval, but in theory, but they,
Yeah.
not of one plan that they want to move forward with. I guess my fear is that we move forward with tearing down the house and we do all this, and then we get stuck in this never land of, well, what about here's this plan? No, I don't like it. Here's this plan. No, I don't like it. And then we never have an approved plan that they can do anything with for another 4 months, 5 months from now. Just a thought to consider. I'm not pushing one way or another. I want to make sure it's fully understood that, yeah, they have an approved plan, but if they're not moving forward with it, then technically is it still considered approved plan?
I guess until they withdraw it. But it sounds like they're going to withdraw it anyway, or at least amend it.
Yeah, it sounds like one month. But I think the planning board's the easier one. It's more the zoning board that becomes an issue.
Sure. I don't like the idea of having a project that, in theory, we're moving forward with, but then, we're still
Yeah.
trying to go over all the other details. Because along the lines, they're grading a site that may require some type of a drainage improvement to be made that wasn't part of the original approval,
Yeah. In the end, they really can't, I think that it's a good point, and we should probably talk about it. We should definitely talk about it tomorrow at the meeting. And I'll try to have some sort of answers to everybody before that meeting. And I got to, again, talk with Anthony. I'll talk to you guys more after this. But because they changed the plans, it may have to go to zoning board, and it's unfortunate that this is all coming out now.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyways, just
Okay.
this is what it is in front of us. You can see it. It kind of changes the alignment. There was like some landscaping here. Yeah. Anyways, on to the next one. The next one we're going to talk about is the application for Stephen Day on County Road 16. So,
What's the CPN number for this one, Eric? I'm sorry.
this is 20-029.
Thank you.
So there's a couple, essentially this project came about because the owner is replacing a septic system. That in itself exceeds the threshold to require site plan approval. At the same time, apparently the driveway that's here, which what's shown here isn't the existing one. The driveway is old, kind of falling apart, whatever, and so they want to replace that. So again, it just exceeds the limits of disturbance that require site plan approval for the planning board. Let's see, so here's the driveway plan that they're showing. It's tough to tell the existing conditions here, but let's see. The existing driveway is like up to here essentially. So they kind of do expand it out a little bit further, what that is. Looks like they're putting a drain section there. And then the septic plan. I'm just adding it there. It's relatively simple, I think, other than probably in a kind of steep area.
Have they gotten approval for the septic system
I don't know
from Ted?
for that. I'll check on that.
Yeah, it'd be nice
Or
if
they-
he's
Yeah,
got
or
that
something.
behind him, then at least we're not talking about having to change the plan if the septic system changes. So yeah, it'd be good if he got that approved first.
Okay.
And where's this property located? Looked like there's a cross street on that one plan.
It's right across from Dual.
Dual? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I saw Dual coming down just Westlake.
Rural Road, okay.
Oh, okay. There's the existing parking area.
So it just pushes it out kind of here.
That rectangular area that's right opposite the intersection, is that additional parking?
Believe so. Certainly looks like it in the walking area down. Yeah. We'll just, since we think that there might be something here as far as steep slopes, we'll make sure that they clarify that on the site plan. And I'll
Sure.
note that in the site plan checklist as well.
Can you go back to the driveway on the proposed plan? I'm sorry, Eric.
No, it's fine.
So, all right, so that's the new driveway and that's the proposed slope, 17%.
Yes, appears so.
So the site design criteria says that the driveway slope within a lot shall now be greater than 15%. We used to have it in the old manual that there was a review and approval made by, that it can be forwarded to Jim for his review and approval in order to grant a waiver from that. I'm not seeing it in here, but it just, as it references, it's section, it's the highway article, section D, driveway design requirements, and I'm looking at vertical alignment. And the vertical alignment, the number 2, it states that all driveways shall have a slope not greater than 15%.
In this instance where it's in a county highway, does that matter?
You know, that's why I was looking for that as well. And it says, the beginning of it says, design and location of driveway shall be in conformance with applicable town standards, county standards, and requirements of New York State policies. And then it goes into vertical and mentions that. It's possible that it does, change because it's in a county, but I think in either case, it probably should be forwarded to Jim, just to see what his thoughts are, and he may come back and say exactly what we just said. That's county, don't worry about it, not our deal. I think it's just important to at least note for now that it's over the 15% as outlined in the site
Yeah.
design, and then let's see where it goes from there. We also require a level area of 3% maximum, 30%, and that's typically at our right of way, but I'm pretty sure the county has a very similar one.
Yep, I'm sure they do too. What is that leveling area? It's tough to read it. Is that 8%, 6%?
Yeah, I don't know what they're measuring. I don't know what they're measuring the 8% from because it appears to
8%.
be the same. Yeah, I don't know what that distance is.
It's probably from the edge of the road to the right-of-way line, which,
I mean, they're showing the road at 778 though, so that's why it's hard to tell. It doesn't seem that significant. I don't know what 8%. I don't know. I would have to measure that out. But those, I guess for the PRC notes, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, I would just reference that the site design criteria, and then the section that I'm referring to is, bear with me as I'll quote it for Jim or for John. Shoot, I just lost it. It's Article 4, Highway and Road Design Improvements, Section D, Vertical Alignment.
Got it, thanks.
Okay, and the two that I think we should at least identify is that the driveway should not exceed 15%. The slope of the driveway should not exceed 15%, and that a leveling area of 3% maximum adjacent to the right-of-way shall be minimum of 30 feet in length from the edge of pavement. I think those are the two that we would typically quote on any review, but that's the two that stand out to me looking at this one.
Okay, got it.
I can't tell if there's supposed to be like a retaining wall on this edge.
I'm looking at Stone Edge. It looks
On
like
this
it just,
edge,
yeah.
they modified the grading to bring it around, then what happens here?
Are you looking at the south side of the driveway, or what appears to be the south side?
To the east side.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
south side of that, yeah.
Yeah, it says, it doesn't give you where's the limits of that wall? Oh, there's the wall. Modify retaining wall as necessary to accommodate under drain. There's an existing retaining wall that's coming from the other property and looks like they have a drain that's gonna have to go underneath it. See how they intersect at the property line?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
So we should ask for some sort of clarification on the grading of the south side of the new driveway.
Yeah, I think you're gonna want to have some kind of design detail, and it's gonna have to be something that shows that specific entrance, that discharge point and the retaining wall.
Okay.
I'm not sure how they're gonna intercept. I'm not sure how, what the, retaining wall usually has an under drain on it as well. Fighting each other? I don't know. It just seems like a plan that needs to be further detailed.
Is the existing driveway asphalt or is it just dirt or gravel?
I think it's gravel. Actually, no, it might be asphalt.
And this is a driveway where you back out, right? There isn't any alternative to backing out onto Westlake Road, or is
I mean,
there?
it certainly seems wide enough to be able to turn around.
Well, it's 32 feet wide.
What's that?
It's 32 feet wide. I
Yeah.
mean, the proposed anyway. Is that big enough to make a 3-point turn?
Yeah, definitely. You can do a K-turn on a 20-foot street.
You can, okay. So the intent is go out head first.
Boy, I hope so.
Yeah, that'd be a tough one to back out to.
Yeah.
Yeah. The existing driveway looks like there's a trench drain up like a quarter of the way down from the road, and I don't see that, I don't see anything about that on the new.
Yeah, good point.
But the fact that it's there probably indicates that there's a fair amount of runoff that comes down from the road itself. I don't know, this seems to me like being set up for some pretty bad drainage problems.
Yeah, it looks like they're carrying it all the way down to the garage now, the drainage, instead of cutting it off. And then it looks like they're bringing it all the way down to that new proposed French drain, which is much bigger. But yeah, I agree. It seems that there's potential for some decent runoff going along that driveway.
Wait a minute, where is the garage?
There's no garage.
There is no garage.
I'm sorry. I assumed there was a garage there. I couldn't tell. Whatever the end of the driveway is, whatever's there, which looks like yard, possibly. I misspoke. I apologize.
Well, so the proposal now is to direct the drainage onto the neighbor's property, is that right?
I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I can't tell. That retaining wall looks like it crosses over onto the other property. And then that drainage just looks like it's being shot right to it. And I don't know where it goes from there. That's a pretty, the retaining wall, Eric, is pretty unique. I mean, but they must have already had approval to do that from the neighbor property, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it must be there, well, I suppose.
Goes on the neighbors and comes back. And whatever that structure is there on the south side of the existing driveway, that's, looks like railroad ties, I think in the one that talks about the existing, which goes away with this, but still it emphasizes or, stresses that you need some sort of grade change off the driveway onto the south side of the driveway. The parking area.
Cable railing, wood retaining wall.
Yeah, cable, wood retaining wall, cable railing. Yikes. Don't go off the driveway.
That kind of curved line that snakes around onto between this property and the other one, and I think there's a label that says retaining wall, but
Yep.
it doesn't, the contours don't make it look like a retaining wall. The contours just continue right across it. So
I agree.
there's something wrong with this drawing. And they're not explaining the drainage at all.
No, there's something going on there. I agree with you.
So what should we request in that instance?
Eric, honestly, in this particular case, I'm thinking we're going to need a little bit more information on that retaining wall and that drainage.
A lot
It's
more
hard to,
information.
yeah, I mean, until they can clarify what's going on there, I don't know that you have an application that needs to go anywhere, because I mean, that's going to be a big component to this driveway. I'm sure Marathon is more than equipped to handle that question. It's just right now, as shown, it doesn't appear to show us much.
All right. If
You know,
they,
Sorry.
well, are you saying that it's like incomplete right now then? I mean,
Well-
it probably is without that, but like that it's so far incomplete that we should not worry about it until we have more, or is there something
Well-
specific that we can request to get them to that point?
I think they need to give us more information on the drainage before you process it. Otherwise, what are we looking at? I mean, you can't approve a driveway that we're going to have the same questions at the board meeting. We're going to have the same questions on paper. And I think I'm not trying, I'm in favor with whatever direction you guys go, but I'm just, in my opinion, that retaining wall as shown where it crosses over the property lines, the retaining wall that doesn't show complete contours that makes any sense. And then how are they going to tie in their proposed drainage, which seems to be fairly significant volume? Where does it go and how does it work? I don't know.
You get all that, John? Because I think that's what the minutes should reflect at the PRC meeting, that until that information is provided and give them a date certain it's got to be submitted, this plan would not move forward. I think that's typical what we do with PRC. Don't we usually say that the new information has to be submitted by a certain date in order to meet a time frame for
Yeah.
an agenda? Okay, well,
Yeah.
I think that'd be the same here, only be specific as to what Lance just stated as to what's needed, along with anything else anybody else has to add.
Well, I'd suggest that the neighbor to the south be consulted formally on this because they seem to be very much affected by the project.
Agreed?
I think at least at this point, we should request clarification about whether they have been in any correspondence or
Yep.
details relating to the retaining wall. I don't know that we can, and especially at PRC, say that, that you should work with the neighbor or whatever. I suppose we probably could, but, I don't know if that's appropriate for the PRC to require that.
Well,
But-
I think you said it right, Eric. Just get a clarification as to the status of that wall, as to the wall that crosses onto the neighbor's property. And at some point, maybe they'd have to contact the neighbor to say, hey, the board is questioning us about this wall.
Yeah.
That's how to get the neighbor engaged.
Yeah. Certainly would hope that they're aware now.
No, I mean, I would imagine that retaining wall circles back, but it's just additional information I think would be good.
Yeah.
And certainly point out the slope issues with the design standards of the driveway as well as the leveling area up top.
Yeah.
That was all discussed today, and that should be in information going back to the applicant.
Yep.
Okay.
As far as referrals go, we'll have it going to Tyler Rowley, the ECB, Jim Fletcher, though I don't know where their water.
You got a water line going under the driveway, existing water line. I see had to note something about keeping the cover.
Yeah.
Certain.
So yes, the water line goes right here.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, send it to Jim.
Does not need to go to County Planning Board. Send it to the fire department since it relates to access. Canandaigua Lake Watershed Council, you send it to Kevin. Bill Wright, County DPW. And that's it, along with the Planning Board and the Development Office.
Lance, is this a type 2?
Yes, single family residential type 2, correct.
Thanks.
And then again, I'll look through the site checklist. Send it out.
And then they have until Friday to get the information, and if they get it, it would be the Wednesday, June 24th planning board.
I mean, this one doesn't have any referrals to the county. I think technically we could get it on the earlier one, but it's probably appropriate to not. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I have a feeling they're gonna have a tough time making Friday.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have anything else on this application?
Yeah, just make sure the minutes reflect the status of the septic system approvals,
Right, yep.
and that should maybe be pointed out to the applicant where, ask where he stands, he or she stands on that.
Got it, thanks.
Okay,
All right. Next, final one is a subdivision that's also associated with a PDR application for Sam Casella. This one's ought to be relatively. So this is the entirety of it right here. Let's see if there's this parcel. To those two, then they're going to subdivide it up here, taking off this piece there and this piece here. Essentially, he wants to keep, I believe, a lot for his daughter and a lot for his sister, and then the remaining, would that be 49 acres, would be entered into PDR program with the state and town. If I recall correctly, there's also Justin Damon's property a little bit more down Rosier Road.
had
It's relatively,
Sam applied for a PDR in the past at all?
I don't recall. I mean, he obviously did this time. I can't remember if he had applied previously.
Yeah,
I
I'm
feel
just
like he did.
I'm wondering if this would help or hurt him, but anyway, okay.
I mean, I would assume it would help him, this subdivision, because he knows, and he knows that he's kind of been chosen by the town to go through this, and he's been talking to Doug about it.
So the 4 lots are 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's on Woolhouse. Okay. So where's the frontage? Where's the homestead? Oh, up right there at Woolhouse. Okay.
Yeah, his home now, I think, is actually right here, this piece.
Oh, across the street. Okay.
And then he wanted a couple left off for his family. I think the subdivision plat should probably show this stream in here.
Yeah.
For sure.
If you could add that, John.
Do you have potential driveway locations, Eric, or no? I know that we don't look for it to be exact, but we do in our subdivision criteria ask that there is ability to access each lot.
With site distance, right?
Yeah, yeah, okay, I see it there. I saw it. Okay. He's at least got that. Does he show it on the each for each lot? One for each lot?
Doesn't show it on this lot.
Yeah, he may need to do that. It looks like he might just generally put some site distance where the curvatures are, but we typically require a potential driveway location. Just show one that so that we can make the statement that each lot has got an accessible driveway location that it could, if needed, have. That would meet.
Well, I
the
think he
criteria.
only did it. It looks like he only did it for the ones that might, not be
Mhm.
entered into protection. But there is existing structures here. I wonder if there's actually a curb cut right now. I'd imagine there is right
Might be.
there and there.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Some kind of farm access.
So we should just ask him to show that, I think.
Yep. Yeah, because that one lot, Eric, where he doesn't show driveway, he might not be able to get one in it that meets the site distance criteria. Because it's on that
Yeah.
curve. I think under those scenarios, what we would end up doing is some type of a note be added to the plans that states that, a shared driveway under this circumstance may be required, or the applicant is aware that, they have a driveway that doesn't meet, they have a blind drive, something to that effect.
Yeah.
The future.
Is that a blue line stream or, it looks like it's just the headwaters are up in that.
Yeah, I think it collects here and then heads down to Menteith.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably was just a ditch, then turned into a farmer's, drainage way.
Feed the cows. That out parcel, whoops, it was up on Rustler.
This one up here
Yeah, it's got a house.
does not right now, no.
Kathleen Rudolph. Rossman. Oh, Rossman.
Okay.
All right.
Is there anything else you guys see on this one?
The back part of that, the long and thin lot is all wooded area.
This one, yeah.
Yeah, and it's somewhat sloped, not,
Yeah, it slopes down this way to the west.
yeah, okay.
Lance, is this a type 2?
No, so subdivision's unlisted action.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry, I should have said that.
Is the status of this as a PDR, did he apply for just the remaining parcels? Or does the PDR application include the entire 2 existing lots?
I will clarify, but I believe it was just for a portion of those lots, not the entirety of them.
Okay, so the application makes it clear that it assumes this subdivision will be approved.
Yeah.
And what's the status of the PDR?
Right now, it's only gone through like the town process where we accept applications, and then, we said that I don't know if we said we approved it, but we chose this one along with the Damon property to apply as one to the state, but the application to the state has not been made yet, and probably won't be till later this year.
But does Sam want to go ahead with this regardless of the status of the PDR? I mean, if he doesn't get it, is he still going to do this subdivision?
I can't say. I guess, the subdivision will have to take place before the application to the state, so it'll be done by that point. Whether the state approves it, then I don't know.
Oh,
But
okay, so it's going to happen regardless.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds like he's carving off some lots for his family.
Yep.
What's the size of that small lot, lot 4 at the bottom?
2 acres?
Is it 2? Okay, and the zoning is, the zoning district, AR2?
Yep.
Okay. It's to the right-of-way line. Okay.
As far as referrals go, I've got it going to the ECB, partly as it relates to a PDR. Does that seem appropriate, Sarah Linda?
Yeah,
Okay. The Ag Committee, and then the Highway and Water Department. Does not need to go to the county. Actually, I'll have to confirm that it doesn't need to go to the county since, well, there's 2 existing lots creating 4. I'm not sure, but anyways, I'll check on that. But I don't believe it needs to go to the county. And that's it as far as referrals go.
Public hearing for planning board?
Yep. Planning board.
Yeah.
And then again, I'll check the checklist and make sure that everything's there. Is there anything else?
We'll just need our standard note regarding septic systems.
Yep. I'll make sure it's in too.
Okay.
Perfect. Yep, is there. Good.
Oh, it's there. Okay.
I see
Lots
this
1
notable.
or 2. Lots 1 or 2. Approved buildable device. It should be a little clarified.
No, we are in that lots 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Right.
Are we okay with them using the county GIS layers on this instead of shooting the entire 50 acres?
So I don't have a problem with it because there's nothing being proposed at this time. But obviously, if anything was proposed, the town would require them to shoot the property. But that might be a question for Chris just to verify if he's got any problems with that being done that way. You know, we set in the, you know, I don't recall what we've done in the past with other properties, but it seems logical to not require them to do that when there's nothing being done at this time.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Then there's nothing else. That's it. Actually, you know what? 2 things to add to the minutes, John, for this one. They need a short environmental assessment form, and we also need the ag data statement completed.
Okay, got him.
Okay. Then with that, we're done on this one. And that's it. All 4 applications. Just so you guys are aware too, the John Casey one did not submit any revised materials. He is apparently in contact with the DEC, trying to get a response from them as to what he might need to do.
Okay.
Summer Hayes withdrew.
Sort of. That
Oh.
they're the same application essentially as the Fahey Venezia one.
Oh, okay.
So yes, they did technically withdraw that application,
Ah,
but they're
okay.
applying for it.
I just put 2 and 2 together. I'm sorry. Yeah, the ZBA wanted to see what was happening on the other lot before they made a decision on making the non-conforming lot more non-conforming. Okay, gotcha.
And
Will Casella be at the first June meeting then?
good question. If it doesn't have to go to the county planning board, then we could do that.
Okay.
And
Seem to be
For
planning
that one.
things.
trying to think, what would we? Later this month, we'll have a few applications.
Yeah, all pending ZBA.
Right, so I'm not sure if any of those will be continued over to that first meeting in June. If we do move the Casella one to that first meeting in June, that might be the only one on that one, so. But I think it's not a bad idea to do it that first meeting, get it out of the way.
Okay.
I'll mark it for the first meeting in June, and then you let me know if it should go later.
Okay. Anything else, guys? I gotta jump into another meeting.
Okay.
No, good.
No,
Thank you,
thanks
Eric.
thanks for setting up. Bye all.
Alright. Take care.
So long.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you soon.